Right. Good morning, everyone. Last class we completed try catch, throw throws, and its related object-oriented programming, including object-oriented programming project. So if you have any questions, confusions, doubts from yesterday class, you can ask. Any questions from yesterday discussions? Any doubts, questions? You want me to explain any concept? ఏదైనా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలా అవసరం లేదా వెళ్ళిపోదామా నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ Shall I start next topic? Any questions, doubts you have? Did you practice yesterday project? Did you try any project in ChatGPT? Why? No time or forgot? Forgot or no time? Say something, man. Why you didn't try in ChatGPT? No time. Okay. So when we can find time? Today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow? Today? Will you try today? Online students, what about you? Did you practice yesterday project? Mr. Abhi? 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 Where is you, Mr. Abhi? Abhinandan Srivastava, Abhi. Change your name, Abhi. Huh? Okay. Online students, do you have any questions from yesterday project? No doubt, sir. Pakka? Okay. Let's start understanding next topic. Finally block. Now, look at here. What is finally? Why finally? What the need of finally? We need to understand. Like a try, like a catch, finally is also a block. Okay? Finally is also a block. Starts with keyword finally. Finally is associated with try. Finally is associated with try. Why? After try block execution completed, when control come out of the try, I have some logic compulsory to execute. Those statements I must place inside finally. Again repeating, if I have some statements compulsory to execute after try completed, then those statements I must place finally. I can use finally with the two syntaxes. Number one, try following by catch following by finally, or I can use only try finally. Two options are there, either try catch finally or try finally. When to use try catch finally? When to use try finally? When try block is executing, if any exception is raised, I want to catch that exception and then execute compulsory statements to execute. Then we have to use what? Try catch finally. Try is for identifying exceptions. Catch is for catching the exception. Finally, for executing some statements compulsory. Then my question is here, when I want to catch the exceptions and execute some statements compulsory, then I should use what? Try catch finally. Then tell me, if I use only try finally, the exception raised in the try, catched or not catched? Not catched. Okay. So what is the point here? Try and then following by finally when you write. My intention is when exception is raised, I want to terminate my program abnormally, but I have some statements compulsory to execute. Then I should use what? Try finally. Understood, everyone? Right? Repeat once again. What is finally? Finally is a block that is associated with a try. What the use of try? What the use of finally? Finally is used for executing some statements compulsory when control come out of the try. Finally is used for executing some statements compulsory when control come out of the try. Then third one. What is the syntax of finally? I can use finally in the two ways, try catch finally or what? Try finally. Then next fourth one. Tell me now, when to use try catch finally, when to use try finally. If I want to catch the exception and execute some statements compulsory, then we should use what? Try catch finally. So that program execution is normal flow, normal termination. I don't want to, okay, when exception is raised, I want to terminate the program abnormally, but I have some statements compulsory to execute, then I should use only try finally. All 4 points understood? Right. So tell me, what are the statements compulsory to execute? Okay. Before going for what are the statements compulsory to execute, I want you to answer something. If I write static block, look at that, static block, finally block looks same, na? Static here and finally here. If I write some statements inside static block, what those statements are called? Initialization statements. Am I right? Static block contain what logic? Initialization logic. Non-static block contains some statements. What these statements also called? Try. What these statements also called? Initialization logic. I am writing constructor. Suppose this class name is what? Example. I am writing example parenthesis open bracket. Some statements you placed inside the constructor. Then these statements are also called what? Initialization logic. I am writing either static method or non-static method and place some statement. Will you call them as initialization logic or business logic? Business logic. So the statements placed in the static block, non-static block and constructor are called initialization logic. The statements we placed inside the static method, non-static method are called what? Business logic. Like that, the statements placed in the try are called what? Exception causing statements. What statements? For example, if I write int x equal to 10, is it a exception causing statement? Is it raising any exception? No. But still you have placed inside a try, then compiler considered it as what? Exception causing statement. Maybe at this line number, exception may occur. For example, you with your friend went to one bar. Okay, you with your friend went to one bar. Tell me, when you are coming out with your friend outside of that bar, one of your relative has watched you, found you there. has seen you that you are coming outside from the bar, then your relative got a chance, na? Now he will run to your father and say, Arre, your son is coming from that bar. Then your father doubted on you that you are drinking and coming, na? Then your father will question, Era, why did you come from that bar? Actually, I went to bar to give company to my friend. He wanted to drink. So for driving purpose, I went there. Will your father believe you? No. From there onward, in his brain, somewhere corner, doubt on you, na? But really, you didn't drink. You are a good guy. But still, maybe. What the doubt? Maybe. Same way, if you write int x equal 10 inside the try block, really there it is not causing any exception, but compiler consider it may throw exception. If you say, no, I don't throw any exception, then why do you write in the try? Move it outside. Now, if you want to give just a company to your friend, why did you go into the bar? You be outside. Yes or no? Stay in the car. Why did you go inside? Stay in the car. Let your friend complete drinking and coming out, and then park him. Drop him at his house and go. You went inside and maybe that is the doubt. Be careful. Okay. Next, if I write any statement in the catch block, what we call this statement as exception handling statement. What a exception handling statement. The statement placed in the try is called exception causing statement. The statement placed in the catch is called what? Exception causing statement. Sorry, exception handling statement. Then what is the logic we call when placed inside finally? It is called resources releasing logic, object unreferencing logic, or cleanup code. What do you call? Cleanup code. The logic we placed inside a finally block is technically called resources releasing logic or object unreferencing logic or cleanup code. Okay, now repeat once again. What type of logic we place in the finally that must be executed compulsory? Resources releasing logic. Tell me, what is the meaning of resource? A resource is nothing but an object that has connections to the external resources. Maybe a file or maybe a database. An object that has a connection to the external resources file or database is called what? Resource. Tell me, after my execution completed, after the usage of this object completed, I should close this connection to the external resource, na? This closing connection logic is called resources releasing logic or object unreferencing logic or cleanup code. Cleanup code. Tell me, you are there in Hyderabad now. After your course completed after 6 months or 1 year, you are vacating your room now. When you are vacating the room and going back to your hometown, just like that, vacate the room and leave? No. Then owner will call and ask you, Babu, pending dues you complete. Okay, you have to clean that room and any pending dues, current bill or some other dues, okay, servant bill or water bill, some dues are there. All the dues you clear and finally you are leaving this room. Yes or no? Just vacating the room is not sufficient. You have to do some extra cleanup work. That cleanup work is optional or mandatory? Mandatory. So that cleanup work mandatory, where I should write? In the finally block. So what type of logic we write inside a finally block? Inside a finally block, we write the cleanup code, resources releasing logic or cleanup code. What is the meaning of resources releasing logic or cleanup code? The code that closes the connections to the external resource is called what? Cleanup code. Now, in a try block, whatever the objects we create, we will use those objects in the try. In the catch block, we will catch the exceptions coming out from this object's usage, and then in a finally block, what we do? We will close the connections those are holding by these objects, and we will unreference. Unreference means what? Assign with what? Null. Assign this reference variable with null and make these objects unreferenced and make it eligible for garbage collection. So in the finally block, we will access the objects created in the try block, close their connections and make it unreferenced and make it eligible for garbage collection. This kind of code we will develop inside finally block. Let us repeat all the points. Point number 1, what is finally? It is a block associated with try or try catch. Number 2, what the use of finally block? Finally block is used for executing some statements compulsory when control come out of the try block. When control come out of the try block. However, control come out of the try block, finally block statements are executed. Number 3, what is the syntax for using finally block? We can use finally block in 2 ways, either with a try catch finally or with a try finally. Next, what is the purpose of try catch finally? If when you want to catch the exceptions rising in the try and execute some logic compulsory, then we should use try catch finally. I don't want to catch exceptions coming from try. I want to terminate program abnormally, but compulsory I want to execute some statements. Then use what? Try finally. Then next, what type of code we place inside finally block? Object resources releasing logic or object unreferencing logic or cleanup code. That means when the objects created in the try block, closing logics we will write inside where? Finally. Okay. Then 6th point, what is the problem if finally block is not there? Why actually finally block is given? Look at here. Try, open bracket, closed bracket, catch, open bracket, closed bracket. Suppose finally is not there. Only try catch is there, finally not there. Then here I have created an object that establishes the connection to the database. That established connection to the database. Okay. And then using this object, I read the data available in the table, all these completed. Then tell me, when connection is open to the database, I must close this connection. Then the connection closing logic, con dot close. Any operation you perform by calling method only, na? Assume there is a method called what? Close. I call con dot close. Then tell me now, when I write con dot close, where you have written? In the try block. Tell me, step number 1, object is created. Connection is established to the database or the file. Then while the logic is executing, assume that there is a exception raised. Then control will go from try block to where? Catch block. Then below, is this close method call executed or not executed? Then connection closed or not closed? If connection not closed, then this table can be used by another person and cannot be used. Cannot be used. You know database? Yeah, in the database, you learn locking concept. When you perform insert or update delete query on a table from one SQL plus, immediately table is locked and it is not available for other SQL plus until you commit or roll back. Do you know this one? Transaction management. This concept is called transaction management. And tell me, when I obtain the when I execute insert or update delete query on this table, if I don't close this connection, this table available for other users? No. Control went to the catch block, exception handling logic executed, go to the catch block. Finally, what happened? This connection not closed. So tell me, the statement placed inside try block guaranteely executed? No. May or may not. If exception not raised, executed. If exception raised, not executed. Avuna? Then do one thing. Let me write con dot close inside catch block also. Let me write con dot close inside catch block also. If I write con dot close inside catch block, when it is executed, is it always executed or only when exception raised? If exception not raised, con dot close executed or not executed? Connection closed or not closed? And then I will do one thing. I will write both in try and catch. If exception not raised, executed from the try. If exception raised, executed from the catch. Then, if you write the statement 2 times, there is a problem. Problem number 1, code redundancy. Same logic you are writing 2 times. Second problem, tell me, this catch block catch every exception coming from the try block? No. If some unknown exception raised from this try block, Then con dot close is not executed from the try. Con dot close also not executed from this catch. Connection is not closed. Advainda? So tell me now, what is the solution for this problem to solve code redundancy problem and 100% to execute? That is where people has introduced what? Finally. Don't write here. Don't write here. Go on place what? Finally. Open bracket, closed bracket, con dot close, place here. Then what happened? If exception not raised, control will go to come out of the try, go to finally block executed, connection closed. Okay. For example, exception raised, then it will go to catch. After catch, it will go to finally connection dot close, connection is closed. For example, unknown exception is raised. Okay. From the try block, control come out, catch is executed or not executed? Not executed. It will go to finally con dot close is executed. However, control come out of the try. Normally, with exception by catching, with exception without catching. However, control come out of the try block. The statements placed in the finally block are definitely executed. So the advantage of finally block, we can avoid writing redundant code and 100% we can guarantee the logic will be executed. So hope you understand all the 6 points. These are the 6 theory points. All are documented either. Finally block. Finally is a keyword. It is associated to try or try catch. Try or try catch. It is used for executing some statements compulsory when control comes out of try block. We can use finally in the 2 combination, try catch finally, try finally. Inside finally, generally we will place cleanup code or objects unreferencing logic or objects resources releasing logic. General people call cleanup code. For example, we will place file connection or a database connection closing logic inside finally block. Theory understood? Now, how to use a sample code? Idhar dekho. Tell me, if I write like this, what is the output of these few lines? Everyone should speak. Come on. Before try block always executed, na? In try, catch block always executed? No. Is finally always executed? Yes. Then next try. Next, after try catch final. What is the output? Before try, in finally, after try catch finally. Okay. Why catch is not executed? Exception is not raised. Next. Second syntax. And tell me the output. Any compile time error? No. Before try, in finally, after try finally. Okay, na? Your answer, JVM answer is same. Who are you? Abacha? Now, finally execution test cases. Just now I told you. However, control come out of the try block, 100% guarantee finally block is executed. What are the cases? Control comes out of the try block. Number 1, normal flow. Number 2, with exception by catching. With exception, not catching. With a transfer statement written. Written is also termination flow only, na? Exception also termination. Written is also termination. And with a system.exit of 0. Totally how many cases are there? 5 cases. Normal flow. This is the program, okay? This is the program. Normal flow. Normal flow means what? In try, in finally, after try catch finally. Normal flow, okay? And then output is what? In try, in finally, after try catch finally. Termination is normal termination. Next, with exception and exception is caught. Then tell me, With exception is caught means what? In try, exception rise, control come to what? Catch. In catch, and then finally, in finally, after try catch finally. Because the exception rise in try caught, the program become normal flow, na? Yes or no? What is the output? In try, in catch, in finally, after try catch finally. In try, in catch, in finally, after try catch finally. Program termination is normal termination. Wonderful. Then next, exception rise, but catch block is not catch. That means matched exception and not matched exception. Not matched. Suppose array index out of bounds exception is rise. Is array index out of bounds exception matched to the catch? No. And tell me the flow. In try, in try, exception rise here array index out of bounds exception. First exception is displayed on console, finally executed. Exception finally. First exception printed on console? No. Exception is not printed on console. Finally is first executed. This is compulsory asking entry question. When exception raised in the try block, catch block is not matched. Then first finally executed, exception printed. What is your answer? First finally executed, then exception is printed. Okay. When exception not caught by the catch block, the statements placed after try catch finally are executed or not executed? Executed or not executed? Presently, the flow of execution is normal flow na termination flow na? Termination. Exception raised here and not caught na? When not caught, program must be terminated abnormal at line number 39. But why it is coming to finally? Because finally must be executed. Understood? When finally, after finally executed, will next statements executed? No. Program is terminated abnormally. Okay, it's an abnormal execution flow. So totally how many cases? 4 cases. Now, write down. Leave one page for writing these notes later. Or will you spend the time to write? Finally block compulsory, very important questions there. Better write down quickly. Just it take maybe 5 minutes, not more than that. This one and next program we will write, and the remaining cases you can copy from the Google Classroom. Write down, fast, check. Scroll on. Complete up to line number 18. What the flow of execution here? Control comes to class, main method, this one, inside try, from try it is going to finally, after final. Write that arrow marks. Completed? Next, up to 49, completed? Here flow of execution, control come here, next inside try, after finally. Finally program termination, NT. NT means normal termination. Completed? Okay. Now, write down. Finally block execution test cases. Completed? ANT means ant. Chima. In your house, ant is coming to the eating. Sugar, na? Ants are coming to eat sugar, no? That is an ant. Look at here. I want to apply all these cases for that small program I have written. All I have implementing in a single program. If you want to implement separate method, you can implement in separate method, your wish. Look at here. First, if I run this program as it is, what is output? Okay, main method, from main result I call M1. M1 return value will be printed here. Okay, that is the last statement. This will be the last line output. M1 control comes to M1. And tell me first message before try. Next. Tell me before try, then in try, then in catch, in finally, after try catch finally, returned 20. 20 will be substituted here and prints the output. Control 1. Controlled. This is with exception or without exception? Normal flow. Case number 1, normal flow. Before try, in finally, after try catch finally, from main result is 20. What is the flow of execution? First control comes to M1, then M1 method, then next try, inside try, normal flow, then we'll go to finally, after finally, return 20 to the calling method. What is the value coming? 20. Everyone clear? Any confusion? Now, next case, try to answer. I am raising exception here. Is finally executed? When finally is executed? When a finally block is executed? When? Before exception raised. Read notes, what you have written. Control comes out of the try block. Where exception raised? Finally executed or not executed? Why? Finally block definitely executed only when control comes out of the try. Because of this statement, try executed or not executed? Then how this finally executed? Understand? Yes, sir. So think properly. So what is output? Only before try. Is the exception raised here catch by this catch block? Catch block will catch exception only that is coming from try block. It is not coming from try. Is this catch will catch? No. Then what happened? Line number 25, program execution is terminated abnormally. Okay, java.lang. Arithmetic exception divided by 0. Okay, clear? Try not executed. finally not executed. And program termination normal or abnormal? Abnormal. So what is the point you should understand? Catch block will catch exception only that is coming from try. Finally block is executed only when control comes out of the try. Comes out of the try, not catch it. Okay. Now I'm commenting this line. This is case 1. Okay. Case 1. Case 2. Suppose inside try, arithmetic exception is raised. What happened? Tell. Before try, in try, exception raised. Because of exception raised, it is going to catch block. In catch, and then in finally executed. Yes. In finally, after try catch finally, return 20. 20 will come and substituted from main result 20. Normal flow na, abnormal flow na? Abnormal. Normal flow because exception riser is caught. In try, in catch, in finally, after try catch finally, from main result 20. When main result coming means it's a normal flow. Okay, na? Okay, next. Now, rising exception, but it is not catch. Exception rise, catch block is not matched. What exception raised here? Number format exception. Number format exception not matched to catch. Then what happened? Tell me the flow of execution. M1 call, control comes to M1. Then control is going to before try, then in try, then exception raised. Now this exception, what the exception? Number format exception. This number format exception must be caught by the catch block. Then catch block matched or not matched? Not matched. Then from here, it should go back to the main method. From here, it should go back to the main method. Is it possible or not possible? Not possible. Because now this is associated with what? Try. Tell me, try is associated with what? Finally. Before going out of the try, it must go and execute final. But my question is, for executing finally, this exception must be stored somewhere, na? Currently, JVM is having in his hand what? Exception. Now, if this exception is there in its hand, it cannot execute finally. Somewhere it should place. For example, you have your 2 hands luggage. You are going on the road. Suddenly, one old man fell down. You want help. What will you do? Place this luggage in your hand somewhere side safe place, na? And then go and help him. Coming back, by the time luggage gone. Yes or no? It's a trap. Am I right? It is a trap. Do you know? Ray, don't be always innocent and very, what do you call, helpful. So if somebody is fell down on the road suddenly, maybe it is a trap. That's why keep your luggage with you in front of you while helping. It's very, very important, remember. Then now number format exception is raised. In order to execute, this number format exception must be stored somewhere. That somewhere is JDH. What is this, sir? What is the full form of JDH? Either guess it. H means what? Handler. It is handling the exception handler. It is a default handling by JVM. That's why it's called what? Default handler. Who's the default handler? Java default handler or JVM default handler? JVM. What the full form of JVM? JVM default handler. Some people, some trainers will call it as JVM exception handler. I don't want to call it as JVM default exception handler. I want to call it as only handler, because it is not only meant for catching exception, it is also meant for catching what? Return values also. The value returned from the try also stored inside where? JDH only. That's why what is important? You should not only consider exception storing value also. Hence, I don't want to call it as exception. I want to call it as a JVM default handler. Then, when exception raised in the try, catch block not matched, first step, exception stored in the JDH. Then we'll go to catch block. Second step, we'll go to catch block. And tell me, catch block is executed. After catch block execution, sorry, it will go to finally block. After finally block execution, will it execute after finally block? No, because present flow is normal flow na, terminated flow na, terminated. Now it will control go back to JDH. So third step, logic executed, and fourth step, return back to JDH. Collect the exception, coming back to main method. Tell me, now the main method, SOP line executed or terminated? Terminated. And what is printed on console? In try. Next, in finally, then what? Exception message. So this is the output. So what is the new topic you have understood? JVM default handler. When JVM default handler will come into picture, when an exception is not caught, still you have finally block to execute, then JDH will come into picture for storing exception temporarily. Hope all you people understand? Paka? Right. Acha, full program you have tried. Write on here, what is there? Class test. Write on. Already notes all the cases, 5 cases written. 5 cases written, right? Write on. Below program explains all above 5 cases. Below program explains all above 5 cases. Remaining cases flow of execution not required. Only third case flow of execution important because JDH. Class test main method M1. Write down the flow. What is coming in the fifth step? Number 1, number format exception. Completed? Tell me the flow for return 10. For return 10, what is the flow? M1 method is called. Control come here. Still writing or completed? How much time you will write about? Done? In letter copying SUYE, SUT. Now tell me second case return 10 flow. Control comes to M1, then SOPLN before, then try. Then what is statement executed? Return 10. Tell me. Return 10 means it is a next statement execution will allow terminate and return value. What the purpose of return statement? Return statement is used for terminating method execution, return the value to the calling. That is called return statement. Now tell me, for return the value to calling, it is going out of the try. When is going out of the try, finally block standing here looking at the cursor. Where are you going? Who will execute me? I am compulsory to execute. How dare you to leave me and go? It is giving warning from here, no? Try saying, oh, sorry, I'm coming to you. It is coming back to finally. But my question is, where this value 10 stored? So from here, first control will go to JDH. Here what value stored? 10. Understand? First, the value stored here 10, and then it will go to where? Finally. Either you raise the exception and not caught, or you return the value. First, the exception or value stored in the JDH, then control will come to finally block. Finally block logic is executed, then control return back to JDH. Then the value available in the JDH or the exception available in the JDH is collected. It will go to the main method. Now tell me, main method terminated abnormally or return value printed? Return value. So what is the output in the case number 2? In try, in finally, and what? From main 20. Exception 10 or 20? 10. Why exception? Where is exception here? 10, return value 10. First flow is exception completed. Now in the second flow, what value coming? 10. 10 will store here, 10 will return to main, and 10 will be printed. So second flow is this is out. In try, in catch, from main 10. Write down the second flow also in the same program. Or you want write separately again, write your wish. Second time you want write it down. Choice is yours. సేమ్ ప్రోగ్రాములు అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకున్నా ఓకే, మళ్ళీ రాసినా ఓకే. Completed? Now there is a entry question. Is it possible to avoid executing? Is it possible to avoid executing finally block? First, let me show output of these questions. What is the output? Before try, in finally, then exception. What is the question? Exception first or finally first? Finally first. Next, control 1, control 2. What is the value coming? In try, in finally, then 10. Exception and return value will come after. Okay. Then next. Now interviewer will ask a question. I don't want execute finally. I will write finally, but don't want execute finally. What to do? Nothing to do. You should kill JVM. By using system.exit of 0, what are you doing? You are killing the JVM. Let me ask ChatGPT, is there any other option? What can I do for not executing finally block? Okay, when JVM shut down before reaching finally. Case where finally block doesn't execute. Number 1, when JVM shut down before reaching finally. Example, inside try you write system.execute 0, JVM terminated, finally not executed. When the JVM crashes, for example, out of memory, stack overflow error at native level, if the JVM itself crashes abnormally, finally is skipped. Infinite loop inside try or catch, control never reach finally. Power failure or OS crash while program is running. Okay, na? This is a very, I mean, what is the conclusion is, whatever the way you develop the code, finally definitely execute it. No, I don't want to execute finally. Then you have two options. This one and out of memory, it's not in our hand. What is in our hand? We have two things we can do. Number 1, inside try, at last place system.exit of 0, so that JVM terminated, finally not executed. Other option, never allow control go out of the try by placing infinite loop. Understood? But generally people accepted case is what? System.exit of 0. By writing system.exit of 0, what happened here? Program terminated. JVM is shut down, JVM is terminated, and finally block is not executed. Before try, in try. Understand? So this is the one of the interview question compulsory asking by the interviewer, you should know. So these are total 5 cases we have, we should practice. So in single program, I gave everything. Everyone understood? Any doubts? What are the points we covered? Point number 1, what is finally, why finally, syntax for finally, purpose of both syntaxes, and then what type of code we write in finally, syntax program. Next, execution flow of finally block 5 cases. In 5 cases, very important, need of JDH. When exception raised and not caught, when value returning from the try block, you want execute finally, then the exception stored and return value stored in JDH, first finally executed, then exception message and return value will be returned to the calling method. So for that, what is used internally? JDH. What is the full form of JDH? JVM, not Java, JVM. JVM default handler. Is it meant for only to store exception, or also meant for store return value? Return value also. Then now the next very interesting topic. finally with return statement. Inside finally, I am placing return statement. Inside finally, I am placing return statement. Then what will happen if I place finally in the return statement? Please think and tell me. If I place return 30 in the finally, is there any problem? Yes, there are three problems are there. Not one problem, three problems. Problem number one, tell me, if I place return statement in the finally, return statement definitely executed. Then at this line number, method execution is terminated and control return to the calling method. Then the statements placed after try catch finally in the method never executed. So problem number one, the statements placed after try catch finally are leads to compile time error, unreachable statement, unreachable statement. Point number one, inside finally, can I place return statement? Yes. If I place return statement the finally, what are the problems? Problem number one, after try catch finally, we cannot place any statement, compiler will throw error. This is compulsory written test exam question. Also in the project, this kind of cases you have to develop the code. Next case, if I place return statement the finally, the value written from the try is never returned to the main method. Inside main method, I am calling what? M1 method. Inside main method, I am calling M1 method. Control is coming to M1. Before try, in try, return 10. Tell me, when I place return 10, what happened? Control is going to and place value 10. And then control is coming to finally. Finally executed. From the finally return 30. Now return 30 coming to calling place now. Who called finally block? JDH. Then control come to JDH. Existing value 10 is replaced with what? 30. And what is returned to main method? 30. Then finally return, sorry, try block return value returned or not returned? Not. Okay. Next one. Now I am raising exception here 10 by 0. Catch block is matched. From the catch block, I am returning the value. Then is this 20 returned or not returned? Come on. From the catch block, return value returned or not returned? Not returned. Why? Why not returned? Come on. Because finally return value replace the 20. Tell me the flow of execution. M1 in before try, in try, exception rise. Tell me, exception caught by the catch block. Then in catch 20. Tell me, what is the purpose of return statement? Terminate this method, return control to calling method. But before going, you have to execute finally. To execute finally, this return 20 stored inside JDH. Then control come to finally. In finally, return 20. 20 return to JDH. Existing value 20 replaced with 30. Then control come to. And what is the value printing on console? 30. So tell me, catch return value returned or not returned? Not returned. So what is the problem number 2? The value returned from try or catch never return to calling method, because finally return value replaces the try catch returning value. What value coming now? 30. In try, in catch, in finally 30. Next. Now inside try block, a exception is raised which is not caught. Then you are expecting this exception will go to main method na? Is this exception can go na, cannot go na? Analyze. Now M1, then in try, before try, in try, then exception raised. When exception raised, it is a checking with a catch block. Catch block not matched, then it has to go to the calling place or not? Will it go na? Will not go na? Will not go. Where it will go? JDH. Why JDH? Because finally is available. In JDH, what is stored? Number format exception stored. From there, control is coming to finally. In finally, return 30. 30 coming to JDH. Inside JDH already available. Either value or exception replaced with what? 30. And then what is control is coming out? With exception or with return value? Bolo now. If finally has a return statement, the uncaught exception raised in the try is suppressed. Now interview ask a question. Without catching exception, I want to suppress exception. What should I do? Without catching, all people are feeling what? If you want to suppress an exception, you must catch. But interviewer asking the question, without catching exception, I want to suppress exception. What to do? What to do? Answer there in front of you, Babu. Always you disconnect from the explanation for giving conclusion. Place written statement in finally. Then the exception riser in the try which is not caught will be suppressed. Understand? Now look at here M2 method. M2 method is void or non-void? Void. Then inside void method, what type of return statement allowed? Return semicolon. If you call M2 method, control come to try, in try, and what happen? Arithmetic exception is raised. Is this exception caught or not caught? Not caught. Then it will go to JDH. And in JDH, what is stored? Arithmetic exception. Control come to finally. In finally, return semicolon. Control come to JDH. What is the meaning of return semicolon? Return control with value or without value? Then this array arithmetic exception is erased from JDH. Control come back to the main method with exception or without exception? Without exception. So what is the message we'll see on console? Only in try, in finally. Control 1. Control 2. Look at there what is coming. In try, in final. If in try ask a question, how can we suppress an exception without catching? Answer, place written statement in finally. That's it. Okay, write down these points. Finally with written statement, totally 3 cases. Fast రాయాలి. When I complete my explanation asking the question, you have to give answer based on explanation conclusion. When you habituate, I don't know. Always you will disconnect from the explanation and again looking at my face. Completed? Please write down this program. You can write both methods, calling at a time or one method at a time, your wish. Will you enable all three at a time? No, one at a time. First return 10 by 0, integer dot parse int of double quotes A. One statement at a time you enable, so that you will see all cases out. This is compile time error. Completed? Will you practice and come? Practice means where? In system, in lab, in notes, in notes. You have to write this program case by case. I combined all cases in single program. Take each case separately. Okay, take each case separately, write program, draw the flow of execution, type in system, your flow, JVM flow, same or not. You know, listening is different. Reproducing in the next class is different. When you listen, you become what? Knowledge. In the next classes, if you want to reproduce the same concept, you have to speak in the class, practice at home. For that, practice is important. Experience. There are two types of people, knowledgeable people and experience. Who are you? You are just knowledgeable person because you didn't practice. If you practice and remember, then you call what? Knowledge and experienced. So try to become experienced. Write on this flow of execution diagram here. Control comes to M1. Then M1 try return 10. Where this return 10 we stored JDH 10. From here control is going to finally. In finally return 30. 30 coming here. 10 replaced with 30. And now 30 going to main. Write that flow. Same flow applied for every case. ఇది రాస్తేనే ఇంటికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత చూడకుండా రాస్తేనే గుర్తుంటుంది. After going to home, if you write this flow of execution without looking into your notebook, then you will remember for next classes. Don't feel lazy to work out. Completed? Thank you. That's all for finally block related all concepts. Okay. Please compulsory practice and come next class. So tomorrow we are going to understand Java 7 new feature with respect to try, catch, finally. Okay. With respect to finally one feature is there. With respect to catch one feature is there. And then following by yeah, that's it in finally block. Okay, once we'll revise all the syllabus, are all points covered or not, we'll check. Anything is pending, we will cover. And next, after exceptionally, we have to start multi-threading. Next chapter will be multi-thread. Thank you. See you tomorrow. లాజిక్ నువ్వేగా రాస్తుంది కాబట్టి నీకు తెలియాలి 10/0 రాసాము 0తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అని నీకు తెలియాలి ఇంటీజర్ డాట్ పార్సింట్ ఆఫ్ డబుల్ కోట్సే రాశాను డబుల్ కోట్సే స్ట్రింగ్ పార్సింట్ మెథడ్ యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయదు అని నీకు తెలియాలి అది తెలియాలి ఓకేనా ఆర్క్స్ ఆఫ్ 0 రాశాను ఆర్క్స్ పాయింట్ చేస్తున్న ఏరియాలో 0 లొకేషన్ లేకపోతే ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అని నీకు తెలియాలి ఆర్క్స్ అనేది ఎరే దానిలో ఉన్న 0 లొకేషన్ యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నా 0 లొకేషన్ లేకపోతే ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అని నీకు తెలియాలి ఓకే ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక వేరియబుల్ ని ఒక క్లాస్ కి క్యాస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా ఆ వేరియబుల్ నుంచి వచ్చే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఈ క్లాస్ యొక్క సబ్ క్లాస్ కాకపోతే క్లాస్ క్యాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అని నీకు తెలియాలి క్లాస్ డాట్ ఫర్ నేమ్ రాశాను ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇచ్చిన క్లాస్ నేమ్ తో డాట్ క్లాస్ ఫైల్ లేకపోతే క్లాస్ నాట్ ఫౌండ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అని నీకు తెలియాలి ఎలా తెలుస్తుందంటే ఇప్పుడు నేను నడవాలంటే కాళ్ళు యూజ్ చేయాలి అని తెలియాలి తినాలంటే చెయ్యి మౌత్ వాడాలని తెలియాలి అంతే కదా. ఓకే